What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you tune in and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on this Anton Daniel situation and the aftermath of the blow up that he had with Corey Holcomb, right? And so lately, I've been seeing Anton Daniels just go around and doing a bunch of interviews and going on to different platforms just just talking about the situation and just trying to really I mean he's just monetizing it, and it's making it seem like everything he did was for money and for clout, and that's all. I guess for him it's all good, because he getting a lot of views, he getting a lot of attention, and he monetizing the situation, right? But for Anton Daniels to be so for a guy who claims he's so intelligent, he really got to look at the big picture of this and the long term effects of what he's doing. Right now, like I said, he's monetizing it, and he's getting a lot of clout off of what happened between him and Corey. Now, so far, I haven't heard Corey say anything on it, right? So Anton may have won the battle, but I think in the long run, I think Anton got to be careful, because what happens is when you start going and calling like people Neanderthals and trying to say that you're better than certain people, especially like street people, like people who come from the street, you going to cause a lot of animosity, and you're going to make yourself, really, you're going to, just to be honest, you're going to make yourself hot. And so he going to make money, like I said, off the situation, but also now you're going to have to spend money, because if you hot everywhere you go, then you're going to need security, and that gets expensive, and it's going to make you uncomfortable, because you can't really go anywhere with your family or anything, because now you got security, because you're talking about he would have whooped Corey ass, and Corey was afraid and all this other stuff. He this I think, like some guys just think that they can like use like there's a buffer, like you can use this platform and say, well, I'm not a street dude. But when you start mixing and you start, somebody going, it's not going to end well with somebody. And I see a lot of YouTubers think that, all right, I'm not a street dude, right? And you keep on flirting around with danger and playing with fire. I think it's not going to end well for because these guys, somebody going to crash out on one of these guys thinking that you try to, what you try, you go and you try to provoke somebody, right? Just so you can get clicks and views. Like I saw, like the guy Charleston White does that too. And a lot of times the guys, he provoke guys and he'll say stuff and he'll make their beef public. But guys gonna get hip to that. They're gonna see what kind, like, that's your play. All right. If you got a beef with Corey and you make it public, now Corey hands are tied, right? But guys gonna get hip to that, and they are going to, like, certain dudes are gonna, they're gonna stay away from you, and or even somebody is going to, like, if they got the money and the funds for something like that, then they'll probably be able to set something up. And so you got to be careful with that. And Anton talking about, like I said, he would have whipped Corey ass and all this. Corey was shaking. Corey probably was shaking because he wanted to crash out. He wanted to do something at that time. Anton banked on the fact that, all right, I got security here, armed security. I have we on a major platform, so I don't think nothing gonna happen. And so he provoked Corey, and it is what it is. But now moving forward, Anton gotta be careful though. And so let me play some of what Anton Daniel said. I hope I don't get flagged for this on his platform, because I just think that this he got to be careful for real. You don't want this type of energy. Not saying that Corey is the guys that are going to bring it to him, but you don't want to create this type of energy around yourself. just for clicks and views.
I told him to his face, man, I ain't never stood down from nobody. I said, nigga, you scared of Dave Chappelle. And he admitted it. He admitted it. I said, you scared of Dave Chappelle. And he admitted it. Yeah, I stood down on that. Told that nigga, you don't have the capacity. You what? I said, nigga, you ain't even gonna have me on the show again because you scared. I told that nigga the whole rest, whatever the 45 minutes that I was on the show, I sent that nigga from the day in and day out.
See, you know what, and see, like with him talking like this about this, like if just imagine, like if you in the neighborhood and you have a fight with somebody, like once the fight over with, or once you really don't talk about it a lot, because especially if y'all had a fist fight. If you had a fist fight with somebody, and you might have got the best of that person, in the back of your mind, you hoping that that's the end of it, right? That he got off of his chest what he had on his chest, and you got, everybody got everything off their chest. Because now, and that's how it is, like a lot of times a day, most of the time, if it don't even come to fist fighting. It don't even, like, I mean, it go way past fist fighting from the jump. So this, I think like this guy, what's his name? Anton Daniels, man, just need to don't escalate the situation. Don't do anything to make it any worse. Like I said, because you need full-time security just because you beefing with people on the internet. That's going, and then once that internet money wear out and then, or run out, then now you still looking over your shoulders. It's like something like this could have ramifications for years. That's what I always try to say, like the guy Charleston White, right? He beefing with people all over the country, and all these, rappers and everybody and stuff like that. And you gotta get you gotta be thinking about, like, in the long run, like, I'm not gonna be able to afford security for my whole, for the rest of my life. And guys, people probably just waiting them out or trying to catch them slipping. And if you notice, like, a lot of guys don't even beef with him anymore. So you creating all these enemies, and guys not beefing no more. That's the time when you need to really be careful. Like, that's the time when you need to really worry, like, because people not saying nothing. And when people get quiet and they not saying nothing, they not, going back at you. What's happening is people, they just plotting. They plotting on you for real. And so, like I said, I haven't heard Corey say anything about this situation. He'll probably bring it back up on his show, next week. But other than that, he's really not saying anything about it. But Antoine, like Anton don't want to create this type of this energy around him, because number one, people don't even see Anton Daniels like as that kind of person, like somebody who is who really about that life, right? And that's cool. Somebody like Corey disrespected him and he stood up to Corey, and that's cool. But the thing is, like I said, you don't want to continue to like to escalate the situation. You don't want to. I think this thing is going to turn into like what not this situation in particular, but it's probably going to get to a point where guys is just really just beefing like they was in rap music, right? Like in the rap world, when guys was beefing, they was they got to the point that they was just taking each other out. And so Anton Daniels don't want to be in a situation where, if somebody getting money on a platform and then you beef with them and they got a beef with you, now they got a whole bunch of like a bunch of young dudes around them who don't mind crashing out. Nah, it's not going, like, yeah, you don't want to start something like this, man. I think Anton Daniels, for somebody who claims that he's so intelligent and so he's not a Neanderthal like other people are Neanderthals. he got, you know, he got to see that he only making this situation worse, man. He running around, he on every time turn around, what he's on Jason Whitlock and No Fugazi. Then he's doing his own show and he's talking about it, how he's son Corey Holcomb, and you know, like he got to think like Corey Holcomb has had he had beef and disagreements with a lot of other people. So why, Anton, you the one who all of a sudden not afraid to stand up to court? Not that other people just say like they understood that things could get worse, but for some reason, and I don't think everybody is afraid of Corey Holcomb, but it's just the fact that things can get worse, and people didn't want to elevate or escalate these situations. But Anton, you know, he feel like there's a buffer, or he feel like there's a certain amount of protection. He feel comfortable doing this, which you know, I can't see why you would feel comfortable, you know, continuously trying to, you know, rub this in Corey's face, continuously trying to you know, gain clout off of the situation. Well, like I said, people don't see Anton as that kind of like a street dude, somebody like this, you know, in this situation. But I think you know, I think he kind of miscalculating. You know, like especially if you don't want to, like I said, you don't want to continuously have to, um, especially you don't want to keep beefing with street dudes because somebody sooner or later is gonna have not them in particular, but they're gonna have some people around them that you know, and they might not even say nothing or give you know, but somebody's gonna have somebody around them that's gonna take care of that situation because they looking for favor from somebody. Like, so you gotta be careful about this situation. It's cool. So you stood up, you know, you stood up to Corey, but to constantly go around and now, and I'm surprised really Anton Daniels is doing this, right? Because he see, you know, like the guy Charleston White, after a while you kind of alienate yourself. And so you gotta continuously you know, people don't say certain things to people or do certain things to people because not because they're afraid, but because they know that like where like if you come from any inner city, whether it's Baltimore, New York, Chicago, DC, anywhere, man, you know that if you keep on pushing people buttons, then you know, it's just not, it's just gonna escalate the situation. So this guy, Anton Daniels, pushing, you know, continuously trying to chase clout. And you know, he's probably getting a lot of money and stuff like off of this, you know, because it's going viral and stuff like that. He want to capitalize on it. Just got to be careful though, you know, because all money ain't good money. And like I said, the money that some of that money you spending now is gonna have to go towards like if you know, if this the lane you're gonna take, now you're gonna have to beef up security because if you want to go around, you know, calling black people Neanderthals and beefing with black people, and like this put him in front of an audience or in front of people that probably don't even usually follow his content, right? And so that right there, you know, people who don't follow his content may follow Corey. That's a different audience. You know, that's a different kind of following. So yeah, man, I think he should continue to go around and sell wolf tickets though. But I hope it don't. You know, I just hope guys that's go on the internet, going on these platforms, man. And if you're going to debate with somebody, just debate. You know what I mean? And just keep it, you know, above board. But when you start to go at people and try to, and I ain't, and I'm not just saying, I'm not saying that Corey don't do the same thing. Like Corey would just try to, you know, he would do the same thing. Like when he talk about, you know, certain people, he'll dog them and he'll drag them, but you people got to be careful with that because I think these platforms just because there's so much money on these platforms, people going to just it's going to attract people, creative people, and they're going to learn how to make money on these platforms. But these young creative people also have people around them who don't mind crashing out, and then so it's going to attract a different element that people like Anton Daniels is not used to dealing with. Just like it did in rap, you know, like when rap first started out, it was the conscious rap, and then you had the rap where people, you know, like the commercial side of rap where people, you know, Will Smith and all them making music that made people feel good. But then you got into gangster rap. And then so when you start getting into gangster rap and then you bring a whole different type of element into the music, then that's when everything changed. And that's what I see um with these different platforms, man. People just thinking that, like once you can beef on these platforms and then it's over with. I don't think so, man. You still gotta be you gotta be strategic about what you say and how you say it. And this guy here, I don't think he's very strategic about it. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. With that being said, man, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.